once again, congratulations to Riverwine for taking first place in this tournament. I'll be putting his deck list up on stream here. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us for an interview, but he's in Twitch chat and he's going to give us some feedback as to how wrong we are when we're analyzing his deck here. So while I'm putting that up, Radar, if you want to talk about it a little bit, feel free to.
Yeah, so I know you guys can't see the list, but we saw many of the cards in his list played during the games. We saw the Ancient Heralds used. He actually has 3 of those in the deck. He has 3 Ground Shakers. They're very powerful cards with low land cost. So I really like those to be included in the deck. He actually has more limited green selections than I had thought. He only has the 1 Verduran Force, which we did see get dropped down on the board. Right in front of an orb towards the end of the tournament. He has the 3 Bone Collectors as well, and 1 Living Willow, which we did not see. He does have the 3 Tiki Caretakers, so it makes his draw into the Tiki Caretaker for a buff on the Mere Phantasm more likely. And he was running just the 2 Firestorms with the Garridan for AoE. He has 2 Lords of Terror, which we saw come to great effect in terms of removing large minions and in terms of gathering Faeria, which he was always up on Faeria, and that's a key. This deck really was designed to control those wells, and it could just sit back and wait until the opponent overcommits, then it just AoE'd to clear the board and kind of rushed forward from there. So I really like the synergy of the deck overall with the buffs, with the caretakers. There's an Aurora in here as well, and it has 2 Frogifies, just those 2 transformations, but that would be enough to deal with a Runin or one of the other major legendaries that you might see come down on the board for a quick fix.
Yep, absolutely. Now, so we saw some decks that are trying to be more controlling, like this running yellow for Last Nightmares and that sort of things. I think the Lord of Terror is basically what ended up replacing that, though. Like, how do you think Lord of Terror compares to those Last Nightmares? And like, is it a better replacement even, or is it just worse in the metagame right now?
Well, I think given the colors that he was running, I think he's picked some great cards from green and blue. And where he wanted the Garridan and the Firestorms in there, there wasn't really much room for yellow cards to add a 4th color. So Lord of Terror works as a gatherer as well as a removal. It's not as flexible in that it can't hit the entire board, but it does, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, function both defensively, offensively, and just as a great tool for collecting Faeria between the board there so that you can get those big swings and the big Faeria well up so that you can play whatever you like.
Yep. So it's interesting to me that he has a pretty good chunk of targets for Ancient Herald. So I think I mentioned early on it's just one of those cheap blue or cheap in the terms of land cost anyway. Cheap blue cards that is very effective with this kind of deck. And even the Living Willow all the way down that far it can even be hit by it. So I think he made a good choice picking the Ancient Heralds there. It seems like a very good fit in this deck.
Yeah, he's actually got 8 cards that it could hit, if I'm
Only
counting
8?
correctly.
Are you counting the Ancient Heralds themselves?
Um, no, not counting the Ancient Heralds themselves. So really, yeah, if you count the other Ancient Heralds, it could potentially hit up to 10 cards. So that's pretty good. Third of
Okay.
your deck can be affected by it.
Yep. And did Riverone gave us the basic idea for what he expected the deck to be here. He's saying red control shell with a little bit of blue and green value splash. That makes a lot of sense. We got the bomb slingers. They're pretty iconic in the red. The firestorms and Guardon for the nice AOE clears. And then you can just play nice and defensive. And of course the ground shakers. Um, but then you get to play nice and defensive and just get a lot of value off those red cards, which is what we saw him doing in that last round. Pretty much just playing as slow as he possibly could and just getting as much value as he could there.
Yeah, does he actually? I'm just kind of counting out the cards now. Does he have the most red cards? He must.
It's really hard to say, and you usually can tell just by a glance, but um,
He's got 11 red cards, so that must be, yeah, that's more than a third. So it
yeah,
has to be the biggest piece. Yeah, I didn't see that really. It's tough to tell with kind of the inclusion of the blue and the green at the start of the deck. You start thinking, oh, well, this is a blue green deck with red splash. But given the number of red cards in the deck, I can see where his theory was coming from. And it looks like he removed things such as the underground brigands in favor of that living willow and in favor of those queen favorites for the flexibility to play them on planes or whatever he likes.
Yep, absolutely. And we do still see the Aurora here too. So combined with those Queen's favorites, that's an absolutely massive play that we kept talking about as much as we could. Really, just Aurora's huge impact that it can have on the game.
I just noticed that I'm four Faeria. I'm a four Faeria 3/6.
Congratulations. All I get to be is a Verduran Force, which might be why I was trying to bring it up all the time.
Right, right. And didn't you say that we had seen a meteor in one of the decks actually?
Yeah, let
Just
me
to
see if I
mention
can
that.
find that list real quick and get it up here. I don't know whose list this was, but I think it was whoever it was that we saw the Five Mountains come out of on stream. Unfortunately, I don't have the names of the players with this deck, so let me find it and see what I can. Oh wow, there's actually an Aurora's Dream in one list too. People trying
Yeah.
all kinds of things here. Um, oh, okay, there it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at this list. Okay. Um, so let me send this to Radar just so he's not completely flying blind here. Seems like the more important part of it.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so if anyone wants to step forward and claim this list, or if you're too ashamed to, or whatever, that's fine too. Then
Never be ashamed of Meteor. Never.
exactly, Meteor is a fantastic card. Um, so he just had. Oh, this was the Cannon Carrier deck too. Okay, that's right. Yeah, it
Right.
was this deck then.
And he
Okay,
had
so
those Wave Crash Colossus in there. So maybe the idea with this deck was to get a really big Wave Crash out and then Cannon Carrier it so that you just had a ranged, 10 damage or something like that. And then Meteor for clearing your opponent's board. We talked about the effect of removing the multicolored lands off the board all at once if you can get it on the opponent's half of the field. And that really would hinder their ability to summon. So if we had seen that get played here, it probably would have worked out well. What I might be missing in this deck, or what I might be looking for in this deck, is some extra way to gain Faeria, just because it is a rather expensive list, I think.
yeah, now it does have the 6 neutral Faeria farmers, so that kind of encourages getting control of them early and then using your powerful removal spells and that sort of thing to kind of carry you through. Um,
Yeah,
Obviously, it didn't work out. We didn't see it in the top four or anything like that, but really interesting deck to play with here, and I'm really interested to see what kind of effect Cannon Carrier can have. I think it might need a slight buff, maybe reduced to 6 or maybe even 5 Faeria, but it's a very unique effect and potentially very powerful.
absolutely. So we had a lot of fun with this tournament,
Oh yeah.
Crow. I mean, was this really what Was this what you were expecting to happen? These kinds of deck lists that came out. Was that what you were thinking we would see, or did you just get completely thrown here?
Honestly, with these Solar Rumbles, I try to just get all expectations possible out of my mind. I honestly have no idea what to expect going into them, and I always just enjoy just watching them and seeing what players are able to come up with. Players who are a lot better deck builders than I am.
Yeah, the innovation with the Solar Rumble is really interesting, and even though these aren't necessarily top ladder decks, some of the synergies with the decks might end up being used in future metas, and it's something to keep in the back of your mind. Everyone who's watching, always try something new. Something that worked for players one day might not work the next day, or vice versa, where the meta shifts and you just adapt to that and you have to keep an open mind at all times.
Okay. And now we have one more thing to deal with before we sign off here. We have a raffle going on. So this is going to be your last chance here. If you're interested in the raffle, type !raffle. And if you want to follow the channel, that's really helpful to Coil Gaming, and it'll let you know anytime we run one of these rumbles of whether it's a Lunar Rumble or a Solar Rumble, what's going on and when to tune in. So if you want to, just go ahead and hit that follow button down on the bottom left-hand corner, and you'll be notified when we do go live. I'll be doing this drawing in about 30 seconds though, just for this short delay that we're on right now to give you a little bit more time to actually come in and join that in if you haven't already. And if you are just joining in, what we're giving away is one hero on Smite. So it's basically effectively a booster pack equivalent in Faeria if we were giving away booster packs for that. So you can either have that hero, I think it's Jing something. Unfortunately, I have not played Smite, so I don't remember the names too well. But if you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then the other game that we're giving away is Paladins. Paladins is I think you said a card game, right? Radar in closed beta still.
I'm sorry. I just checked it out real briefly, and their splash page actually shows the characters as cards, which I thought was
Okay.
interesting. But it does look to be something similar to Overwatch, where there's a little bit of first-person shooter combat going on, team-based game. So it looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like they're being really innovative with it. So I know I would love to try it out. I'd be in the raffle if I could. So you guys should definitely enter. Definitely enter.
All right. So the first one we're going to draw for is that Jing Wei. Thank you to Coil Gaming for correcting me and making it so I don't not know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, so we're going to go ahead and close that raffle now, and we're going to go ahead and draw the winner. So the winner of that Jing Wei hero in Smite is going to be Willow underscore DE. Congratulations to Willow underscore DE. You get to play this hero in Smite anytime you want to now. So you can contact Coil Gaming and they will send you the key for that.
Congrats.
All right, and then we have one more here. This one more, as I had mentioned, is for that Paladin's closed beta key. Um, so I would do a drum roll or something like that, but I don't have a good drum set or anything like that around here. And plus, my upstairs neighbors would probably get a little bit too annoyed. Um, so without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and do that drawing. And it's Lucille. Lucille, congratulations. You get to try out Paladin in the closed beta. Hopefully you enjoy it. It should be a blast. Have heard a couple good things about the game by this point. Um, after doing a little bit of research with it. But congratulations, Lucille. You are the winner of that key. And I guess that just about sums it up for our stream today. Do you have anything else you wanted to say, Radar? Any shout outs to any friends or anything like that?
Yeah, I just kind of want to give out a shout out to the community. My friends, Motto and Blackscape, we're looking to get together and basically start kind of a community team and get some more content out there for new players. And they've been really supportive of me, as well as everyone that's watched my stream and followed. And I wanted to thank Coil Gaming and Turtle for inviting me to stream this. It's been really fun commentating, and Crow, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Absolutely, same to you, Radar. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do more casting in the future and that sort of thing, and where you end up being in this community. Now, I think you do a little bit of streaming too. Is that right? How can they reach you with that?
Yeah, so it's right under my card here, twitch.tv/ radar 6590. I stream there regularly in the evenings, Eastern time, sometime between 12:30 a.m. and 3 a.m., just because I work a late shift. Um, but yeah, I'd love to see you guys there and love to interact. And we have a lot of fun learning about Faeria, and we play tons of fairies. So if you're like Crow and you like fairies, then come check out the stream.
All right, sounds good to me. Once again, thank you all for watching. It's been an absolute blast being able to stream here for you. And once again, big thanks to Coil Gaming and Abrachem for all the support they've given to the community streams as well. So big shout out to them, and thanks a bunch to the developers for being so supportive of all this. Um, and with that, I guess we'll sign off now. So everyone, have a good day or evening or whatever time it is in Australia. Um, have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
shake.